Right now on Tech Radio, SpaceX to the moon. And we don't mean the moon.
Hi, I'm Artemis. I am a computer-generated AI voice, and you're listening to Tech Radio.
Every week online, we bring you the latest in tech from Ireland and across the world. You're welcome to episode 1117 with news this week, including SpaceX's IPO, which is quite incredible. The highlights of Google I.O., of course, and Meta is saying goodbye to thousands of employees around the world. Plus, we have Dash Leaders founder and CEO Maria Langan talking about a new approach to learning for executives. Let's get into it.
This is Tech Radio with Dusty Rhodes and Niall Kitson.
I'm Dusty. Joining me as always, our editor-in-chief, Niall Kitson. Niall, it's kind of as expected. It was well telegraphed. Meta are letting go 10% of its workforce. They made the announcement on Wednesday, but did it in the most brutal, horrible way.
Well, I mean, did it in a way that seems to be becoming the norm. As you say, the numbers were not surprising. It's 10% of their workforce. As you said, 8,000 jobs. It looks like 20% of the Irish workforce is going to be affected. So it could be something in the region of 350 jobs being lost there. Add that to the 700 being lost by Covalent, which is a contractor for Meta, who are shutting up shop as well, or rather the Meta shop within Covalent is shutting up. So basically, you were told to go work from home on Wednesday, and you would be sent an email. And it kind of started around 4 a.m. US time, but basically it started in Singapore and went around the world for uptime. And the emails just started landing. And I actually have the wording here because it was posted onto, goodness, which website was it? They actually posted it to their own website, which I thought was a pretty ballsy move.
How did they do it then?
Okay, let me just get you the document, but in the meantime, I can tell you about some of the terms, which were actually, generous, I suppose, by US terms anyway. 16 weeks base pay plus 2 additional weeks for every year of service. No cap on that. Remaining paid time off, you'd be paid for that. There will be shares. If you've been due shares, you'll still get them. They will have what they call, a career support with somebody else, with an external contractor that will come in and say, okay, here's, there's something going on over here. There's something going on over here. Maybe you might like to, go for this job, all that kind of thing. If you're there on something like an H-1B, they will look after your visa arrangements as well. So, they're trying to soften the blow as much as possible. Some things that Zuckerberg said, bearing in mind that, Meta is not, this isn't new territory for them. Zuckerberg says there is no good way to do a layoff, but we hope you get all the relevant information to you as quickly as possible. Blah, 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 blah. I suppose most importantly, he talks about sort of feeling the weight, sort of the responsibility of making this decision, etc., etc. This isn't being done lightly. I believe we are deeply underestimated as a company today. Billions of people use our services to connect, and our communities keep growing. Positive kind of rhetoric. Our core business is amongst the most profitable ever built, with huge potential ahead. And we're developing the technology to define the future of social connection and the next computing platform. We do historically important work. I'm confident if we work efficiently there being a word that's doing an awful lot of work, we'll come out of this downturn stronger and more resilient than ever. Let's look at what he means when he says downturn. I mean, in the last report, the last quarterlies, median total compensation at the company fell from 417,420 24 to 388,200 in 2025. Internally, morale is not good when you see an awful lot of your friends and colleagues being let go, when all those sort of very annoying updates start appearing on LinkedIn and X talking about the wonderful opportunity and thank you to my management and blah, blah, blah. That's not good. But we do know that Meta had a very strong last quarter. They've been doing very well. I came across a term today in the papers. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to read or digest the feature it was attached to, of AI washing. Did we talk about this before?
Go on, remind me.
Basically, looking to ascribe a company's underperformance to AI as opposed to bad management. So if you say, okay, we're letting people go, and it's not because we suck at our jobs and have been losing money and invested $1 billion into virtual reality and the metaverse and are trying to cut our losses. No, we are becoming more efficient. And, AI is a force multiplier. And that's why we're doing it. It's not that we spent a load of money on a technology that never caught on, or that we've overextended ourselves into building out data center infrastructure. No, it's because we think by integrating this technology into your workflow, we can do more with less. We've talked about this before. We're kind of hoping it will be a case there. These companies are thinking of, we will be able to do the same with less. And hopefully nobody will notice, because we lost a bunch of money on, some failed gambles, or we're overstretching ourselves into investment in AI, and we need to come up with a cushion. What's your take on it?
That's the point of a corporation and a company. The absolute number one goal of any company is to create profit for its shareholders or owners.
Yeah.
That is the number one rule. Okay. So if you have AI is coming in as a tool and you could do more with fewer people, makes absolute sense. Why wouldn't you? We've had this before now, and I remember learning it in history when, was it Robert Louis Stevenson came along? Did he do the train or the steam engine or something like that? But anyway, all of those in mid-18th century, the factory was born, all right? And loads of people lost jobs. There was a huge cultural and societal shift because of that. After the war, World War II, then we had a whole load of more automation came in, all right? And again, there was a huge societal shift and people losing their jobs and stuff like that. Now, here we are. AI is here and we're having another massive shift. And the way I'm looking at it is, it's a shift. We're going through, people are losing jobs, but other jobs will be created, or we'll work it out somehow. That's my hope, is that we'll work it out somehow.
Well, here's the thing, and I do agree with you that these things are cyclical, but if you look at sort of, the crash, a lot of jobs were lost and no jobs were created. It was just a case of can society crawl back to some sense of normalcy. We never really recovered. Before that, there was the dot-com bubble, from which I think we did recover from, but there was an awful lot of learnings. Oddly enough, a lot of those companies that failed during the dot-com crash would probably do just fine now. So that's kind of maybe some learnings there, that maybe, the ideas behind these companies weren't bad. It was just the money ran out. And that was it for a lot of people. What we have in this case with AI is the idea of AI as a force multiplier seems to have gone out the window very quickly, and has turned into AI replacing the coworker you might occasionally have had a conversation with. This seems to be where we're going. Not too long ago, the new job that it seemed everybody was going to be interested in was prompt engineer. But now we're all prompt engineers. You learn how to write prompt. That's it. You get as specific as possible and hope the AI is clever enough to keep up with it. That was meant to be a job but it never became one because everybody just had to learn how to prompt effectively. So, I guess there's more jobs for educators and in training because people do need to get to grips with this stuff. But in terms of engineering, I mean, AI is actively replacing humans to the point where entire companies are just basing their product on AI generated code, which is not a good policy.
We can see that now to sum up. I mean, that's 20% of Irish workers with Meta losing their jobs. And it is pretty much down to AI. So it is shocking. And fingers crossed, I mean, those people will get jobs elsewhere. But then again, you also have to kind of go, I mean, Meta are really good payers. Who else can afford to pay that? I mean, the terms of the severance are not bad. Do you know what I mean? Kind of, it's over and above what's required. They've put in a lot of extras in there. I love the way when you were reading out the email from Zuck, I was going, he never wrote that. There's no way he ever wrote that. He had somebody with, kind of, and actually, I was going to say somebody with a heart and a conscience, somebody who was able to assimilate a heart and a conscience, but is absolutely cold. All right, wrote that email to make it all sound very nice and and all that kind of stuff, But the bottom line is, as I said, they can do more things with fewer people to create more profit for their shareholders. That's it. And actually, do you know what? That's been the purpose of almost every company for the last 200 years. Nothing has changed. All right. It's just we've got different pieces.
I think it's best we leave it there, Dusty, and talk about happier things.
Well, no, I don't think so.
Because
I know we're going to talk about Google I/O, and I think kind of what we're looking is with Meta is we're looking, this is what's happening now, and I think what we've seen with Google I/O this week is, well, this is what's to come. All right. So Google I/O, of course, now the huge big event was on this week, and over 100 announcements made by Google, which is quite stunning. I think you're very impressed with it. I'm less than impressed with it. Overall, I thought that the whole thing was just AI. AI this, Gemini that, everything was AI. And what worries me, and this is why I'm kind of saying, to keep this in mind for the conversation, right? The way Google were pitching all of the new AI features is that AI is now not a tool to help you or to assist you. AI is a tool that will do things for you. It's done for you stuff. Do you know what I mean? And there's two things I worry about is, number one, it does it so well, you kind of go, well, what's real? I mean, one of the examples they were giving is say, okay, well, let's take this. Was it a photo or one video shot? I can't remember. But essentially, the AI was able to send out one photo and then create 16 short videos from all kinds of different angles of that same thing. And you kind of go, right, well, what's real? That's a problem that we are getting today already. How do you know what's real? Okay. So that's kind of in my mind from what I was thinking about, which we'll talk about now at Google I/O. And then also the fact that they're pitching it as, hey, it's all done for you. You don't have to do anything. Let the AI do everything for you. And I think that means that generations who are coming up are just not going to think. They won't have a brain.
I actually think there's a lot to that. When you're not using your core skills, when you're not using your critical thinking, when you're not developing basic cop on, these are parts of your brain that will just never develop, and you just your core skills atrophy, or even worse, you never learn them in the first place. So sure, let's dive in and talk about specific things then, shall we?
Indeed. Grant, there were 100 announcements, and what we've done is we've kind of distilled them down. So Niall has his favourite 5, and then I've got my favourite 5 as well. So go on, Niall, kick off.
I'm going to start with Gemini in the search bar, because I think this is the statement of intent. This was Google's sort of, look, Gemini is here. There's no getting away from it. We have the search market. If you want to search with Google, you're going to have to get used to this. So basically, when you go into google.ie and you go to do your search, there's a little plus at the left corner of the toolbar, which basically means, do you actually want an answer through Gemini, as opposed to, an AI summary and what have you. And what can I say other than it works and it's easy to access? So that is, it's a small thing, but I think to put it front and center on the homepage is really sort of, okay, we're out of beta with this. This is just how search is going to work now.
Yeah. I think so. One of the things that I got from Google I/O, I can sum it up in one word: voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So many things about talk to your computer, talk to your phone or stuff like that. And I am doing that over the last 6 months a lot. And it has, I don't want to go so far as to say it's transformed my life, but it drives my wife absolutely nuts. I go, it's great. She just talks to the phone and and it does. She goes, yeah, but it's really annoying for people who are in the same room. Yeah, I kind of get that. But yeah, I thought there were so many things they had with voice. Audio glasses, I thought, was a nice idea. I don't think it's going to work. It's kind of basically like the Meta glasses, but instead of it having a camera, it seems to be the main interaction is you have to press a button on the glasses in order for the thing to hear you. And then you ask it a question and then it will somehow get the audio into your ear. I don't know whether that's via an earpiece or whether that's via bone transduction. I think they call it transduction, I suppose, where the vibrations are going directly into your head. But either way, you can hear it. I like the idea of that in that if you're walking somewhere and you kind of go, I haven't done this with my phone. I'm always threatening to do it. It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to a part of town I don't know. Google, give me directions. I'm walking. And then just to have an earpiece or these audio glasses to kind of go, okay, next thing, turn left. Okay, whatever. Okay. I think that's a good thing. I can see things happening in the future where, because I'm terrible at this, when I meet somebody on the street and they go, oh, Dusty, how you doing? I have no idea who they are. And it's, do you do this? Do you? And you're just kind of putting in, how's work? Hoping the name, that they will name a place where they actually work or somebody that they work with and you can piece it together. Like, wouldn't it be great to have a set of glasses where you just hit a button and went, who the hell is this?
Yeah. I once was sat beside somebody at a dinner and, I was like, I know this person. I know this person. I know this person. And I tweaked who it was.
Yeah, it was your wife.
And I eventually, used their name in conversation and they looked at me and went, how long have you known? I was like, I figured it out eventually.
Oh, okay. So they got it right. You got it right. Oh, that's good. Yeah, but I think the audio glasses, I think it's going to be a gimmick. It won't be with us for very long. They're building in doing voice with Gmail and Docs. They're calling it Docs Live. Here's another example. The demonstration that they did at the event was to kind of say, hi, Docs, I'm doing some kind of a talk and I need to have a script and I need you to pull information from this and tell a story about that and and put it all into a table format so that it's easy for me to read. And then he spoke this to the phone and then the phone generated the document and it looked fantastic. But I'm kind of thinking that's cool. 1, 2, you still have to check it. But if it's that easy, would you? I mean, human nature, us being all as lazy as sin, would you really check it?
There'll be a lot of problems like that.
Yeah, and it's doing the thinking for you. Gmail, you can talk to Gmail and you can say, yeah, send a response saying blah, 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 blah. I mean, is it getting so bad? Gmail is essentially, and email is essentially like, Post-it notes. I get so much of it now, and I just see it as post. I'm getting hit. The TV ad at the moment. I'm just going for a break, and the guy gets up, and it's kind of all these yellow Post-it notes start hitting him left, right, and centre. Yeah. That's how my day feels. All right, and I feel that email is like that, and it's kind of like now it's Gmail is just responding. You don't even think about it anymore. You just go, yeah, tell Niall I'll be there at 11. And it writes it for you. It's kind of like we can't even write our own yellow Post-it notes anymore. Voice, then, just to wrap up on this, they ask data, ask maps, ask YouTube. I thought the ask YouTube was interesting because now you can say, I'm looking for a video about blah, 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 or to do such and such a task. And it will actually give you an answer with 3 or 4 curated videos. And I use that term loosely. And then the other thing is maps, where you can ask for directions to go to somewhere and to stop off at a coffee shop on the way or something like that.
Yeah.
So all of that voice interaction overall is something that I liked. It makes it very Star Trekky.
Okay. Yeah. No, I see where you're coming from. It makes sense. I'll jump in with something else that that impressed me. And actually, I did think the intelligent eyewear stuff was interesting. They've partnered with Samsung to actually do the gubbins on them, but from a design perspective, they're working with two companies, Warby Parker in the States and Gentle Monster in South Korea, and they've really picked up two important lessons from Google Glass, because we've seen that Meta are doing okay with their Ray-Bans and their Oakleys. They seem to have broken through, even though there is a camera in those glasses. Hence, Google sort of took the experience of Glass and went, okay, what did people really hate about Glass? Well, they hated the idea that they were potentially being filmed without their knowledge, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's pivot. No more visual. Let's go audio, and that makes perfect sense. And the other one, Google Glass looked ridiculous. Nobody would.
Well, yeah,
it just looked ridiculous. We are now at the stage where we've got a hardware partner and design partners that can actually make these things look palatable. So let's go with that. Two important lessons, and I think it will certainly help their case. I think audio glasses will be a win.
All right. I kept looking at the demo and they kept pressing the glasses, and then the glasses would then be, I presume, speaking to their ear. And they went, why don't they just use an earbud? Why do you need glasses? Especially if it's not showing you information and there's no camera on it. Anyways. Well, there is a camera on it because they took a picture of the thing. So you still have that privacy problem.
Oh, okay.
You still have that privacy problem. Anyway, Google I/O, the personal AI agent, got your attention.
Did, yeah, because this was kind of one of the things Apple has really struggled with is being contemporizing Siri for a couple of reasons. I mean, Apple's whole thing is that everything is on device. Apple's whole thing is also we're doing it the Apple way. So not necessarily first to market, but certainly the most refined version of what you'll get. And Siri has just it's lagged. It's voice recognition for making calendar invites. Like it's pretty limited compared to what you should be able to do. And Spark seems to be what Siri was meant to be. Just the personal coordinator that will bring everything together, whether it's documents you have, whether it's files you have in your drive, whether it's creation documents. You talked about voice there quite a bit, and it's Spark is sort of the engine behind all of it. So I won't go too far else into it other than to say that if voice is to be the thing, Spark is what makes it all happen. And I was pretty impressed. Okay, grand, lovely stuff. My next thing is certification. And kind of one of the things I have been thinking about with AI just generally is we've had, 25, 30 years now of the internet? The internet came to Ireland mid-90s, Barry Flanagan and co. So we've had 30 years of the internet in Ireland. And in that time, how much data and information is out there? All right. It's too much for anyone to even comprehend. And I like the fact that AI is coming in now and is able to sort it out. However, and this is the thing I find with LinkedIn and so many things on the internet, is the quality of the data is not really great because it could be from any source. Do you know what I mean? It's not certified, if you like. Okay. So one of the things that Google is bringing in, they're bringing in a C2PA content certification and Synth ID, which I think you're going to talk about now in a minute. But what I liked about it is that they are trying to start something where they're kind of going, well, this is either from this particular source, which is trusted, or it's quality information. And I think we need that.
I've done stuff on with various AIs, now not the Google ones, but all the ones, and I've said, what are people on Reddit saying about blah, 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 right? And then it'll give me a whole answer. And I'll say, oh, this is what it is. But when I actually click on the results, it's comments that were made 4 years ago. And I'm talking about this year's event. Do you know what I mean? So I think that whole verification of content and how good is the quality of this, and we're getting this with AI at the minute. I had to do a particularly complicated task recently. And strangely enough, I was doing it in Spanish. Don't even ask me why, right? But with my limited Spanish, I was using AI to try and guide me through the whole thing, and the AI would tell me, yes, this is what you do. And then when I go in and try and do it, it was kind of like obvious to me, even in a foreign language, like, no, this isn't going to work. So I go back to the AI and I say, yeah, but, all right. And then it would come back and go, no, you're absolutely right. Do you know what I mean? And it just reminded me that AI is the world's greatest guessing mechanism, because that's what it's doing. It's taking information and it's literally guessing, well, what is the right answer? So for Google to be able to say, now this is going to take years and years and years to implement, right? But the fact that Google are kind of saying, Grant, we are going to immediately start some kind of content verification, synth ID, to be able to say that this is good information or this information indeed was generated by AI. I thought that was a good move. I think actually probably out of all the things that they did at Google I/O, for me, that was the most interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I'll buy that. I thought Synth ID was pretty good, and that's sort of related to what you're talking about in terms of data quality. Synth ID is verification. Basically saying, okay, this thing is original content, or this thing is created with AI. And I think that kind of speaks to what you're talking about, albeit slightly tangentially. I'm going to keep that very short and sweet and say the ability to recognize what is correct, we'll say, and what is not is something they're working on. And I think they'll get there. Anyway.
All right. Okay, grand. Number 3 for me is actually now something quite normal, no deep conversation. They are revamping Android Auto. One of the interesting things that I hadn't even really considered is that on Android Auto, they are adding an ability to add your own apps. So you can see what you want to see on this screen in the car. They're also changing Google Maps so that, and I think this is quite good, is that as you're getting the directions on the map in the car, it will show you 3D rendering on the map. So you can see as you're driving down the road, okay, there's really big skyscrapers to the left of me and there's kind of more regular buildings to the right, or stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Or you will be able to see like this road goes under a bypass, that kind of stuff. And then also the voice giving you directions is improving, and it'll do more instead of like saying in 300 meters, turn left, it will say turn left at the next lights. And that's the kind of thing that you can use as a driver. I hate this, like in 300 meters, turn left. Well, how am I supposed to know when's 300 meters? You know what I mean? And then I start looking at the blue line on the screen to see where it is we actually are. And then I wonder, are we actually there? Especially when you've got two turns right beside each other, something like that. But I think it's improving Android Auto, and I think it's improving significantly. And for a day-to-day use of Google products, I think that's one I'm looking forward to.
Okay. I'll jump in with the last thing, and it's something that I know you will have quite passionate opinions on. Google Flow. It is their short video creation tool, and you can do quite a few interesting things in terms of creating video. You can either use a text prompt, or you can introduce elements and say, I want to use this, create this. And you can also do things like, you can create a timeline, but you can also sort of chop things up and move things about. And I think this would be interesting or useful, not as, I'm creating a final product, right? not as this is wonderful, we're all going to be making short films. It's like, no, for me, that's not what it's for. That's how you make an awful lot of bad short films. This is going to be great for things like storyboarding, right? Or offline editing. Now, when I was learning about editing, the difference between offline and online was presented to me as it's handwriting, and then it's, proper, a proper polished product, right? An offline edit is basically just assembling the bits, and then you polish it up and you add the effects and you do X, Y, Z. So from the perspective of, okay, here's how our characters, how I want them to look. Here's what will happen. Here are the scenes. Here's a few angles we might use. From that sort of pre-production experimentation perspective, I can definitely see value there. In terms of, I'm going to create a 90-minute movie off the back of everything that I've generated by AI. That is a recipe for disaster, because movies are collaborative, and everybody brings their own little spark to things. However, if you wanted to create just sort of, little prompts along the way, or, this is what the scene is going to look like, I think there's definitely value there. You seem unconvinced.
No, I'm just what I'm thinking of is, like, they make this available, or they will make this available to, like, everybody and anybody who wants to use it. Think of the amount of energy just one of those short video clips. And as well as I do, that somebody's going to come up and they're going to use some stupid little 10-minute or 10-second video of them. Oh, look at me diving off into a lake on the moon, or something like that. Like, how realistic is it? Do you know what I mean? Why are we using our computing power and for that kind of stupid stuff, right? Why is Google getting into the creator space? You're right. These tools are useful to people who make videos, but to everybody else, it's just like, I don't know. And then the other thing is that in the hands of the wrong people, you kind of go, well, they're making videos that are just so realistic. How do you know what's real and what's not? All right.
Well, that's where your synth ID comes in.
Well, yeah, but that's if you put a synth ID on it.
Yeah, well, it's a Google product, so of course.
Well, yeah, but then somebody will come along with a way of removing the synth ID. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's the whole thing of these fakes. I thought the flow was interesting. The bit that really annoyed me with flow is they did an example of flow music. All right. So you know how important music is to me. And I was kind of like, okay, so here's our guy and he's playing something, kind of just very rough on the piano. Okay. But he wants to demonstrate it to the band as to how it should sound. And like literally flow music turned it into a finished piece of music. That's like, again, why bother having a band? Why don't I just get my phone and go, oh, I've had a great idea for tune, and it goes da 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 da. I really miss you, and then Google Flow turns that into some kind of a usable song. Why? Where is art and creativity and all those things? I am really being an old man today.
Where's the magic, Dusty?
It is absolutely amazing. There's no doubt about it. It's absolutely amazing. And you know what I love about all of these tools, right? Is that if you put all of these tools into the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing, the results will be astounding. All right. Yeah. And the technology is amazing. But here's my fear is that how did the person who is an expert in that area get to be an expert? Because they learned it the hard way. If we're going to go through a future now where the computer's doing everything, nobody's going to learn things the hard way anymore. And in 20 years' time, people just won't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can look at the example of, the couple of feature films that were edited on iMovie. The albums that were constructed in GarageBand. These tools definitely work, but if your basic competence isn't in there, I mean, one of the 28 years later was shot on an iPhone, but it was shot on an iPhone by Anthony Dodmantle, who actually shot the first 28 days later.
There you go, because he knows what he's doing.
Consumer grade digital camera. So, if the talent and the knowledge isn't there, The tool isn't going to replace that.
No. Anyway, listen, that is Google I/O. Yes, I thought an awful lot of the stuff that they were showing was amazing, but it makes me concerned.
Sure.
Okay, let's move on to the third big story of the week, and that is Elon Musk. Man, is he making headlines. So we have SpaceX. I mean, that is just extraordinary. Well, in order to kind of put that into context, let's go back a few days and Elon Musk's OpenAI lawsuit, and the jury came back with a verdict.
Oh God, the jury came back with a verdict. The jury didn't even get their free lunch. The jury came back within 2 hours and threw the case out. And they threw the case out because Musk had waited too long to file it. Statute of limitations had run out.
Oh my God.
Right? So Musk went to X and he said, look, this case was lost not on the merits of the argument, but because of a technicality, I'm going to appeal. And if he wants to engage in lawfare, that's, I mean, he has been already. But if that's what he wants to do, have at it. But I mean, the case is dead. If he wants to sort of prove that his ego isn't, I'm not mad, you're mad. If he wants to play that, well, have at it. It's been such a weird case in that who came out of this looking good? I mean, Musk looks, he looks like a petulant child. He's like, I thought I was buying into this. It turned out it wasn't this. But I totes did not get scammed. By the way, I'm suing you guys for $10 billion and making sure you never get to compete with my AI that isn't as good as your AI in the first place. A terrible lawsuit. Musk looked terrible on the stand. Apparently, OpenAI's lawyer at one point had been Elon Musk's lawyer. So he knew exactly, which buttons to push, and apparently he did it quite expertly. Sam Altman did not look good on the stand. Greg Brockman did not look good on the stand. The only person who came out of this with credit was Satya Nadella, who I think he only did a day and was very straightforward, very factual, didn't bring shame in the family, and that was fine. Really, the big winners out of this whole thing are Anthropic, because everybody just went, okay, in a free open marketplace, whose business do I want to support? Is it these guys playing in their sandbox over there, throwing stuff at each other, or will I go with somebody that doesn't seem like pure evil? Okay, let's go with that guy. He might be okay. So Anthropic have been the big winners of this case, without a doubt. However, by getting this case out of the way, it did create a runway for the two biggest IPOs of the year, OpenAI and SpaceX. SpaceX being the biggest by quite a stretch. So do you want to dig into that?
Well, I love the way you say it's turning Musk into a petulant child, or Musk is acting like a petulant child, because he is behind SpaceX. And I mean, the numbers are astonishing, and it will make him the world's richest person by like a country mile. All right. However, not only will it make him the richest person in the world, but an incredibly, amazingly powerful person. All right. So SpaceX basically wants to float onto the stock market. All right. They've had lodged the terms in the States with how they're going to do it. And the terms that we can see is that Elon Musk will have astonishing control of the company. It won't be a public company. People will be able to invest in it, but it won't be a public company because Musk will retain control. He'll control 85% of the company, and then he will own physically in shares and whatever 45% of the company. All right. So SpaceX themselves are saying that, with these numbers, Elon Musk will be able to bypass shareholder approval of anything, including the election of directors of the company who will discuss it. So basically, he can do what he wants. All
Yeah,
right?
the important differentiator here is A and B stocks, right? Of which Musk holds an impressive amount of both. I can't remember what the percent is. It 85% of A stocks he owns?
I think it's
Sometimes
whatever the mix is, right? He has
Yeah.
85% control overall, right? A stocks are a very high level of stock where you're actually able to make decisions on behalf of the company, whereas B stocks would be more like kind of, well, look, I have money in it and whatever way the chips fall.
Yeah, I mean, basically, some companies flip it into
Yeah.
B stocks and A stocks,
Yeah.
but the differentiation holds the same.
Yeah.
It's all about voting rights. So
Yeah.
you might say B stocks are about people that just want to buy buy shares in SpaceX, and they'll
Yeah.
collect their money at the end of it, and that's their level of interest. A stocks are actual voting rights, or one A stock is worth 10 B
Well,
stocks.
they can split it up all kinds of ways, yes. But
Yeah.
he has got amazing control of the company, and he has got amazing ownership of the company. And the company even is acknowledging that he does not need shareholder approval, or he could put in his own directors. Okay, so that's kind of like very dangerous, right? The other thing that struck me about the SpaceX IPO is that the vision of what it is they want to do is equally astonishing. It's like, when you think about what it is, I mean, think about Musk, and he's kind of like, he's going, we want to go to Mars. He's a big thinker for SpaceX. All right. He wants the company and its subsidiaries to own AI, and he wants them to own the network that everybody is talking on, as well as probably owning the moon or Mars or whoever gets there
and
first.
Do you know which part of his business is the only one making money for him at the moment? It's Starlink.
Starlink, there you go, which is very good. Anybody I know two people who have it, and they both say that it's excellent.
Yeah.
And he is expanding this, okay? Because what he's saying, this is where I say his vision is just astonishing. He wants to put data centers in space, okay? So we kind of think, oh man, that'd be amazing. And in my head, I'm thinking 2 or 3, right? No, he wants to put 100 gigawatts of AI data centers into orbit every single year. Okay.
Powered by solar energy.
They're
For it.
powered by solar energy. You're cooled by space. There's so many great ways of doing it. And then, of course, as you say with Starlink, there's your connectivity down to Earth and stuff like that. The whole thing, to make it work, it's going to take 10,000 launches. Who's got 10,000 Who's got 10,000 rockets? Oh, look, SpaceX. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's controlling everything. Like, they want to put 1 million tons of payload per year into space. It's like, the numbers is just staggering. And I can understand why he would want to be in charge of the company, because he just wants to be able to say, because it didn't work in Tesla, he wants to be able to say, right, we're going to do this, and then just go and do it. But when you're dealing with something that big, is it really a good idea to, kind of have somebody walking around with a little cat in their arm going, we've been expecting you, Mr. Bond? That's what I see, but the whole idea of it is just staggering in my head, and I have to sit back and just admire him, good or bad.
Well, I tell you, if we can sort of get data centers out of states in the US that have struggling power grids and have issues with water quality, and the incredible amounts of land that are being bought up to service data centers. If we can get data centers on the moon, data centers in orbit, data centers under the sea, data centers anywhere else than on people's land, I'm all for these. And data centers in space, come on, who wouldn't want that?
Why not? Why not? The other interesting angle on this is that they are going to do their public offering and put themselves onto the NASDAQ exchange in the States. They're hoping to do it fairly quick, possibly as early as June. We'll wait and see. But OpenAI also want to go public, and Anthropic also want to go public. And if they do, I mean, they're both huge companies. It means then that we have, what do they call it? the Fab Seven, I can't remember what that is. Anyways, you've got Microsoft and Google and You start lobbying in SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic. The 10 companies at the top of the S&P 500, if they ever get into it, all right, will account for 50% of the value of the market.
Yeah.
10 companies, and they're all in tech. So, that's just something to watch out for. Anyway, listen, we had an awful lot in there, and we've run way over time, but I think it was worth it because all great stories this week, Niall. Thanks for keeping us up to date and giving us your perspective on everything.
Delivering Irish tech news since 2006. This is Tech Radio.
When you want to learn or develop your skills to move on up the ladder, where do you find the right expertise? Some people do straight degrees, others do mentoring. Now, Dash Leaders is offering a practical approach which uses short videos from expert teachers tailored to your needs and your specific strengths. Niall Kitson had a chat with their founder and CEO, Maria Langan, this week to learn more about the approach to learning in bite-sized pieces.
Maria, I always am fascinated about founders' journey where it's a case of somebody within the tech sector who has identified a very specific problem, or someone outside who has an issue or a problem they want to solve and can see the way technology can be leveraged to address it. You're kind of in the latter camp, so tell us a little bit about where you came from.
Sure, yeah. So look, over the last 20 years, I have developed a unique mix of media and leadership development expertise, and very much working in environments where I suppose expectations were high and outcomes mattered. The catalyst for Dash Leaders came from my own leadership journey. So stepping into senior leadership roles quite early, where that responsibility accelerated quite quickly, and the learning curve was quite steep. So the first decade of my career was in media, and I moved into commercial functions in C-suite roles, specifically commercial director level, and then in 2015 I was offered the role of CEO of Trend Media Pacific, which was a Digicel company based out in Asia Pacific. So it was going to be headquartered in Singapore, and we were going to roll it out to 6 markets across APAC. So what Digicel found was a very clever way to attract eyeballs. So they discovered down in APAC and some of the more developing markets that digital media was non-existent, even in 2015. We had come a long way in Ireland at that point. And there was an opportunity to create a news platform. So similar, I guess, to the way journal.ie or Joe and her.ie emerged at the time. So straight into a news platform. And with Digicel, because they were a telecommunications company, the benefit was that we could preload the news app onto phones. So everyone who bought a Digicel phone had this app downloaded, so eyeballs were a given. However, and there was limited competition. However, what happened was there was, a lack of education in terms of digital media. So there was a big learning curve to evolve that throughout the market. And we grew the business up to, I suppose, an all-encompassing media house. However, in that role was probably the biggest learning of my career. As I said, I kind of had this plain sailing trajectory from ad agency up to media owner in Ireland. And then when I went to Digicel, I was in a new market. I was managing a team of over 50 staff across 6 different markets. We grew very quickly, and I had a very, I suppose, challenging report line up, and I had very developing staff working underneath me. So I was in this very difficult scenario, trying to learn on my feet. At the time, we were sent to a week-long executive leadership program at Wharton University over in Philadelphia. It was absolutely brilliant. We stayed on campus for the week. All the global leaders across Digicel. We had the best academia in the world. I got familiar with these new concepts like emotional intelligence and how they relate into organizations and how they can, leverage your performance as a leader. And I just got really fascinated. However, when I got back into the market, what we used to say, I was in Papua New Guinea at the time. And I don't know whether you know much about Papua New Guinea, Niall, but it's a very developing country. It can be quite dangerous, particularly for a female. We were actually escorted to the office from our compound apartment by armed security. And we've all got the tales of Papua New Guinea to tell, but it was a very challenging time, and I sank pretty quickly, and I was extremely homesick. I didn't have a network on the ground. The time zone was insane. I was trying to get developers who I knew in Ireland to support on the ground in PNG in the Pacific. They were 13 hours behind. It was the middle of the night kind of stuff, and it's like, I just can't do this. I don't even know how to evolve this business. I was completely drowning, and the pressure was on, the targets were high, and this had to work. So I packed it in. Well, I didn't. I handed in my notes. I can't do this. It's just too hard. This is not for me. And I was convinced otherwise. I was very much looked after by the board and the senior leadership team at Digicel. Said, right, we'll put you on a mentorship program. We'll get you through this. I had great support around me. The CEO at the time, Maurice McCarthy, was an amazing support. And he said to me, you just need to get, as a CEO, you just need to look at all the areas, all your functions, marketing, operations, self-development, finance, which is more important, which way you're going to prioritize your time. So I had my little Excel sheet at the time, and I was building out, right, if I spent, the most important is sales, if I spend, 40% of my week on that, getting ahead, starting to get my head around managing a P&L, if I start working with the finance team on that, and then operations, team development, managing a high performance team, how do I get to that point, and so on. So I just started observing and capturing what makes great leaders great. So I was kind of leeching onto the strong leaders of across the team at Digicel, and really capturing what they do well, and where they prioritize their time. And I got through it. We managed to get the team in a good place, and actually the business became quite profitable. And we got to 20% market share within the first 2 years. We brought it up to 4 million revenue. So it was a good result from a very difficult, stressful start to the career at Digicel. So that, when I returned to Ireland, I actually went back to media. I stayed within the Digicel group and went back to work with media, but I still started to get fascinated by this leadership development sector. So I started working with McNulty Performance. Then I evolved into becoming their deputy CEO, and I evolved my career into leadership development, and I upskilled a lot. I did a women's leadership program at Yale. I did a gender diversity program with INSEAD. Especially during COVID, I was kind of eating all this stuff up at home when it all went online, and I was able to get these courses at a much lower rate than you probably would heading out to Yale for a week. So I very much evolved my career into leadership development and people performance. So I then became a practitioner in Myers-Briggs, so the psychometrics tool, and then also emotional intelligence, just because I absolutely love it, and EQI, and started, helping senior leaders become more effective using these tools. And I'm also a ICF accredited coach. But when I evolved into leadership development, my graw and my passion was, it always lies in media. Like when I go back to being a TY student back in school, myself and one of my still best friends, Claire Coleman, we used to run our school radio station on Fridays at the lunch break. And I did a master's in media management. I just love that whole content creation, digital media, how we can reach mass audiences very, very quickly. And I just thought to myself, there was only a way to, really disrupt that whole leadership development industry with that kind of more media entertainment approach. Because when you're so used to media and working in agencies, it's the standard of content and presentations. It's so high and engaging. And I felt that leadership could evolve with it to some degree. So yeah, over time, I continued to capture what sets great leaders great. And I built it into this framework. And I was able to, over 2 years, refine it and cross-reference it into 4 distinct pillars that have become the DASH framework: drive, ability, social skills, and happiness, which encompass all the fundamental components of being an effective leader. So I said to myself, what if there was one trusted platform that brought all this together, like insight, experience, and practical support that leaders actually want to use and want to engage with? So effectively mentoring leaders at scale. And, that's really where it led to the Dash Leaders platform. And Dash Leaders is about, paying it forward at scale, turning live leadership experience into practical tips and takeaways. That's all I wanted. Just tell me what you're doing in marketing and how can I apply it? The theory is great, everything's great, but what is it that I need to do across the different leadership categories to become more effective and in a very, very faster way? So Dash, the word Dash is fast. Our tagline is building better leaders faster. And that's really what we're all about.
It's quite interesting that you're taking this sort of lived experience, practical knowledge approach, as opposed to looking for accreditation or, working with a university or whatever. Tell us a little bit about that sort of conscious decision.
Yeah. So for us, Dash Leaders is all about a journey of self-mastery. So we're not a performance tool. That's intentional. We will never be a performance tool. So all users will get their own individual leadership snapshot of where they are today. And these programs are always funded by the organization. So whether that's the head of L&D or the CEO. And so they will get a cohort level view of how the leadership group are performing when they go through a Dash journey or Dash program. And we will never give individual results out because that's not what we're about. We want leaders to, we want to evoke insight and reflection and really want them to own their own journey. So we're not designed to be accredited. That's by choice. We're really there to give leaders high level, real world perspective. If you want to go deeper into theory, there are excellent accredited programs out there, particularly in Ireland. We feel like we complement them by keeping leadership dynamic, relevant, and immediately applicable. So we'll give you everything you need to know, broad top line. And then if you want to go deeper and further, head off to Smurfit or the UCD Business School. Amazing, amazing courses out there. There's so many that you can access online now. INSEAD, Yale, they all offer online opportunities, but we're a very different play. And where we would describe ourselves is very much an employee benefits tool rather than a performance tool.
Kind of core to how Dash works is sort of managing your perception of yourself.
Yes.
How do you actually set that baseline?
Yeah, so the user journey or the participant journey, it's quite simple. So when you get access to the Dash platform, leaders take a quick psychometrically informed assessment. And so this is an 18 questionnaire based on the 15 leadership Dash categories. And so that's the first thing you do when you access the site. So you take that and you will receive a personalized Dash score. So every user is given a My Dash dashboard, and they're showed in a snapshot how they perform against the 4 Dash pillars. So drive, ability, social skills, and happiness. And then from there, they unlock tailored content designed to build their inner drive, strengthen their business capability, deepen their connection with others, and sustain high performance over time. So how progress is reinforced is through timely prompts. So when you start engaging with the content on Dash, after each video, you will receive a question. So very, very much how, Duolingo, in order to proceed, you have to answer a very quick question. And then your progress tracking or your progress pulse changes from there on. So it's very much it's very much a pulse tool. And then after 12 months, you repeat the Dash score to see how your results change over time. So what we say with Dash is, you start on day one, and then how you engage and evolve as a leader, the platform will help, you reflect, it will spark insight, will support you with live workshops and coaching where relevant. We have endless content on the platform, and it's continuously being updated. The content features real business leaders who've been there and done that on very specific topics, and subject matter experts within the leadership development space. So after the 12-month period, we say, right, repeat the Dash score again, and you can see how much your progress has changed over time. And so again, it's all about reflecting that insight. And from a project owner point of view or the organization point of view, they step back and they see, where their group of leadership team are performing across these leadership categories. So all very, very relevant and practical, and continuously moving leaders forward.
I think a big part of your offering is sort of delving into who is actually contributing on this sort of what you're calling edutainment. In selecting the people that you wanted to work with, was it a case of here's somebody that's very visible, or was it a case of, okay, here's somebody that you mightn't have heard of but have done some really great things?
Yeah, it's actually both. So, between like leaders that I've worked with, obviously is your immediate front to call, and then all the subject matter experts that are out there. There's a whole range of Dash will, our ambition is to get the Sheryl Sandbergs of this world, the Stephen Bartlett's, and then right down to a very successful business leader or founder who someone may not have heard of, but they're doing amazing things in their industry or their sector. So it is very much about that range. And I think that's what makes it unique. And, a lot of people would say to us, well, can AI not do this? Like, can we not just get this information on AI? And AI video is progressing. And I was like, this is actually from the horse's mouth of people who've been there and done that. This is from real business leaders and, real subject matter experts who are renowned in their space. And some you may not have heard of them, and some will be a bit more visible. And I suppose what makes us unique is because, there's a lot of content platforms out there as well that feature business leaders. And, you've got the likes of, Masterclass, which are more long form. This all relates back to your Dash score. So it's personalized. It's all back to where you stand as a leader and what you want to engage with, and who you want to, which videos you want to look at to help you progress. All the videos are 3 to 5 minutes max. And we always, we create them and we produce them as, something you can watch on your commute home, or once a day, or, at the end of the day when you're a bit wrecked. It's not that heavy theory course. It's actually quite entertaining and engaging. And that's why we're positioning ourselves in this edutainment sector, which is a very new emerging sector where entertainment meets edtech. And we feel we really want to own that sector here in Ireland, and then beyond when we start expanding into international markets.
And speaking of that expansion journey, tell us a little bit about where you are at the moment.
Yeah, so to date, Dash has been very much supported by Enterprise Ireland. They have been fantastic. I started the Dash journey on New Frontiers. So I did the initial New Frontiers 1, which is a part-time program, kind of come up and test the ideation. Then I got into New Frontiers 2 at TU Grange Gorman. So this is all Enterprise backed, this program. And so I did New Frontiers 2, phase 2, and got into phase 3 as well. So it was a 9-month full-time program. And that was when I made the decision to go full-time in Dash. And New Frontiers and Enterprise Ireland really come in and stress test your business. So they help you validate the concept, help you really shape the offering, all the market research. They support you with, you've access to their market research centre and so on. And after that, we received pre-seed start funding from Enterprise Ireland in October. So Enterprise Ireland give you pre-seed start fund to get you up and running. So that really got us from that MVP customer pilot level to the live platform. And so we were able to invest in content, and we were able to invest in the platform going live. So that's all been very successful to date. So our next where we want to go is to evolve from a B2B offering to a B2C freemium subscription model. And so that's when users or leaders outside of an organization can go on and subscribe to Dash on a monthly or an annual basis. And also we're going to start expanding into international markets. So obviously, given my experience in APAC, I have a team there ready to go and chomping at the bit. So we have a production team and leadership development experts there ready to start rolling it out in the markets there. And then we also want to start targeting initially English-speaking territories, because all the content is in English, and then we will expand wider than that. So the ambition is to progress into Enterprise Ireland HPSU, the High Potential Start Fund. And we've just opened an investment round this week. So we're looking to raise investment, and we're looking at a €250,000 investment raise, which will be match funded by Enterprise Ireland. And at that point, we will be all systems go to expand our team and roll it into other markets and get that B2C offering. And the other huge area that we want to enhance the product offering. And so we really want to start heavily integrating AI into the platform. And so really using it to further personalize the offering, and then also start looking at AI coaching tools. So very much using the Dash coaching approach and bringing this into the offering as well. So loads of ambition and loads ahead. We're really excited to see what's ahead.
And that was Maria Langan from Dash Leaders. You can meet her in person at the Dublin Tech Summit at the RDS next Wednesday and Thursday, 27th and 28th of May. There's links to both of them in the description area of this podcast.
This is Tech Radio with Dusty Rhodes and Niall Kitson.
That's it for our show this week. As always, we've got way more stories online on the website that we didn't manage to get into the podcast. What else have we got now?
Sure, we have some Trinity researchers investigating big AI's threat to the rule of law. German intelligence says 9 to Palantir. And Jason Walsh on IPOs of all shapes and sizes.
You will find those stories and more online at techcentral.ie. We're back again next Friday. Brand new show for you. In the meantime, please do share our podcast with a friend. Just tell them to look up Tech Radio Ireland on Apple, Spotify or YouTube, and they'll get all the goss from here on the Green Isle. Until next time, from myself, Dusty Rhodes, and from Niall Kitson, thanks for listening. Take care.
Remember, you can get the latest Irish tech news with hourly updates, daily newsletters, and more at our website, techcentral.ie. Share the knowledge and invite a friend to listen. Search Apple, Spotify, or YouTube for Tech Radio Ireland. Tech Radio is produced by dustpod.io for techcentral.ie. From me, Artemis, live long and prosper.